Shabbat Shalom. Earlier this week, as Joanna and I were sitting down to get to dinner, we heard the phone ring. When I looked down at the phone, I saw that it was my sister-in-law, Vanessa, calling, so I answered it. "Hi, Vanessa, what's up?" I said. "Hi, Marcos, I need to ask you a favor." Now, at this point, I'm thinking, a favor? Last time, Vanessa and our brother-in-law, Benji, asked Joanna and I for a favor, we ended up with a car full of Cheerios, baby formula, and vomit all over the seats. You see, Vanessa has 4 children, all under the age of 10, including a 3-year-old and a baby. And now she wants a favor. I press my mouth to the speaker of the phone and answer hesitantly, "A favor? Sure. What do you need?" "Well," Vanessa said, "Benji and I are looking to take a vacation, the first in over 7 years, and we need to know if you and Joanna would take the kids for an entire week." I quickly muted the phone and directed my voice to the heavens. "Why me? Have I not been good? I pay my taxes, I give tzedakah, I try to be kind to everyone. Why me?" Across the table, Joanna gives me the look. Her eyes burn a hole into my conscience, and I am paralyzed with fear. And so, I got back on the phone. I could feel my palms begin to sweat, the pulse in my neck begin to strengthen, trepidation had set in. "Hi, Vanessa. We'll do it. Yep, all 4 kids. That's right. 5 full days. Yep, we got it. Diapers, formula. Okay, bye." Tomorrow at 8 a.m., Joanna and I will adopt 4 beautiful children for a week. Upon receiving the call from my sister-in-law, I was immediately reminded of the last time we watched our nieces and nephew. About a month ago, our niece Rebecca, under our care, went to the refrigerator to get a cup of water. She placed her cup under the water dispenser on the front of the fridge and pressed the button. But the water did not dispense, and so she pressed harder. Still nothing. Hearing the fuss, I walked into the kitchen and said, "Rebecca, if you hit the button harder, you're going to break it." A typical 8-year-old, Rebecca wasn't intent on listening to her uncle, and so she struck the water dispenser with her fist. Frustrated, I turned to her and said, if you hit the water dispenser one more time and it breaks, you're not going swimming." "No swimming?" she said. "But I've been waiting to go swimming all week. That's not fair. You promised I could go swimming." Now, Rebecca is very creative. She is well versed in the art and science of manipulation, and instead of striking the water dispenser with her hand, Rebecca took her brother's wiffle ball bat, a long plastic stick, and hit the dispenser. She struck the dispenser with tremendous force, causing it to break, and the water to flood the entire kitchen floor. A person striking an object to get water, and then being told they can't go where they so badly desire to go. Does this sound familiar? In this week's Torah portion, Parshat Chukat, we read about Moses striking a rock with his staff to provide the Israelites with water, and the subsequent aftermath of being denied entry into the Holy Land. The Israelites in Parshat Chukat are tired. They are thirsty and frustrated with their leaders. They have been wandering, searching for the land promised to them by God, and the people are driven into despair as they become angry with Moses, some even claiming that it would have been better to be slaves in Egypt than to suffer the perils of the desert. The way we teach the story to children is an oversimplified version of the truth. We teach children, and we are taught, that Moses hit the rock and defied God, and so God punished him. While it is true, Moses did indeed hit the rock, but it is important to understand what was happening at the time. From reading the Parsha, we know that Miriam, Moses' older sister, has just died. And if we go back a few months, we remember reading of Miriam's bravery, ingenuity, and angelic wisdom as she devises a plan to keep Moses alive as he floats down the river and is discovered by Pharaoh's daughter. Miriam then accompanies Moses on his journey, supporting him, challenging him, and confronting him when she believes he is wrong. Miriam serves as counsel to her younger brother, and Miriam is also a legend in her own right. She is given the power of prophecy, and she is with Moses when he leads the people through the parting of the Red Sea, and it is at that place that Miriam famously chants the Song of the Sea, Az Yashir Moshe U'Bnei Yisrael, a prayer that has become part of our daily liturgy. Rabbinic commentary links Miriam to water as they teach of a rolling rock, a well that follows Miriam and the Israelites as they journey through the desert, providing an essential element to the people and livestock. In fact, when Miriam dies, the Torah in Parshat Chukat chapter 20 verse 2 says, Vatamat sham Miriam, vatikbar sham. Miriam died there and was buried there. And then in the very next verse, the words we read, Velo hayamayim, and the community was without water. She died there, she was buried there, and the community was without water. And so the rabbis understood this to be a clear connection between the lack of water and Miriam's death. Miriam was responsible for saving Moses' life. She is an integral part of the leadership team, providing essential life-saving care to her people, and now she is gone. Moses is grieving. Moses is in mourning, left to make decisions and ponder the future of his people without one of his closest aides by his side. And so, in a moment of extreme emotional distress, he commits an error. Moses is overcome with grief, and perhaps he strikes the rock in a passionate and genuine moment of natural human emotion. But Miriam's death was not the only event in the portion that could indicate why Moses was forced to stay behind. What happens over a period of 40 years? Things change. During this election season, we think about our own leaders and how they are given a designated amount of time to serve. Today's leaders are limited by terms, and the same was true for the Israelites in the desert. The Babylonian Talmud and tractate Avodah Zarah teaches that even the greatest figures in history belong to a specific time and place. As we read, each generation has its own sages. Each generation has its own leaders. Leadership is time-bound, not timeless. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks, former chief rabbi of the United Kingdom, and my favorite modern Torah scholar, writes in his commentary on Parshat Chukat, quote, "Each age produces its leaders, and each leader is a function of an age. There may be indeed, in fact, there are certain timeless truths about leadership. A leader must have courage and integrity. A leader must be able to relate to each individual according to his or her distinctive needs. Above all, a leader must constantly learn as it is written, "A king must study the Torah all the days of his life." But these are necessary, not sufficient conditions. A leader must be sensitive to the call of the hour, this generation, this chapter in the long history of a people. And because he or she is of a specific generation, even the greatest leader cannot meet the challenges of a different generation. That is not a failing. It is the existential condition of humanity. End quote. After 40 years of leadership, it is time for Moses to pass the torch to the next generation of leaders who will face new challenges, a new set of struggles, and unique opportunities that will transform over time and ultimately shape the course of our history. There is no denying that Moses was and will most likely remain the greatest leader our people has ever known. I believe Moses did reach his promised land. Although physically unable to enter Canaan, Moses oversaw the largest exodus in the history of the world. He led his people out of slavery. He went up to the mountaintop and from there gave us a code of law, of ethics, and a moral conduct that we still use today, our holy Torah. Moses had the foresight to know that his people were starving for a new leader, someone who they could trust. And yes, Moses faced seemingly insurmountable challenges along the way, but together with his brother Aaron, sister Miriam, and God, he stood strong in the face of conflict and brought the Israelites to redemption. I believe we all have a promised land. Things we want to accomplish, goals we set out to achieve. And with that come inevitable challenges. We learn from the Bible that at the heart of our existence is a challenge. The challenge to overcome, the challenge to identify and understand our struggles so that collectively we can make the world a better place for us and for all who inhabit it. And we all have the potential for greatness. We see it every day, from police officers who risk their lives to protect innocents, and firefighters who run directly into danger so that others can run away, to ordinary citizens who perform extraordinary acts of love and kindness. Friends, God has given us the opportunity to reach our promised land. God has saved us more than once. God has given us miracle after miracle, and God has entrusted God's people with the awesome responsibility of being our brother's keeper. A promised land is more than a physical location. A promised land is more than an idea or a concept. Promised land is a state of being, a conscious and deliberate act of living each day trying to make a difference for the better and to leave the world better than the way we found it the day before. And if we leave this earth knowing that we touched the lives of others, that we did our part to make this world a better place, then we know that we have truly reached our promised land. But we must also face a new and harsh reality. A reality that there are people in this world whose intentions are pure evil. People whose sole purpose in life is to prevent our happiness and disrupt our way of life. We are living in an uncertain and unstable time. Just yesterday morning, we awoke to the news that over 80 people had been brutally murdered in France, being run over by a truck driven by a French national from Tunisia. We learned that 2 Americans died, a father and his young son from Texas, along with Canadian and French citizens. The attack occurred during Bastille Day, which is French National Day celebrating unity and independence. And so there will be obstacles on the way to our promised land, hurdles we will need to overcome. But if we follow the teachings of our Torah, if we remember the foundation on which our faith was built, and if we stand up and join together with those who align themselves with righteousness and justice, we will prevail. May we be forever blessed with the opportunity to live like Miriam, Aaron, and Moses, to make meaningful and lasting change in the world, and may we feel God's presence as we walk toward our individual and unique promised land.